What's going on, my friends? We want to give a market update as it sits right now in January 2024. So first things first, let's dive into it. We're going to talk about existing home sales as of December 2023. Now you're probably thinking, why is it that we're not looking at January? And the reason is that all the numbers are lagging, right? So there are some numbers that lag further back either than just December. So the most recent closed as far as existing home sales is going to be December 2023. So with that, let's take a closer look. As you can see, we're down about 1.3% month over month. Now, why is that? The reason is that if you go from November to December or from October to November, that typically those times of the year, it's going to be slower activity. Why? Because people are focusing on the holidays. So that is not an indicative of what is truly happening in terms of the market and where it's going. Now, this is pretty cool. Year over year, when people are talking about, oh my gosh, the market's going to fall out. Oh my gosh, if I buy now, it's not going to be worth the same as it is, or the same or more in the future. That is absolutely not the case, because now, while this is across the country, we can do local reports, and I can tell you right now that this is very close to being the same for our local market. This is 4.4% year over year. As far as the increase goes, that is market appreciation. I can do some math on that, but basically 4% appreciation is a normal, healthy market. And that's a good sign. So a couple more things. Inventory. Inventory is a big problem. We already know this. So normal market in terms of months of supply is 4.6 months. Right now, we're looking at roughly 3.2 months in supply. So we're still low, but we do anticipate as the year progresses, interest rates come down, inflation comes down, that more people are going to get off the fence and start to make a move, which should increase our inventory. And that's a good sign for you if you're looking to buy. Now, one other thing, you guys can read through this, but one other thing in terms of just making a mention is that right here, you're going to see first-time home buyers, cash buyers, investors. We are up from 29% to 31%, and cash buyers are down just a touch from 29% to 27%, with investors at up 2%. This is consumer sentiment, and if you guys have ever taken a look at it, it's a University of Michigan has a study that they do, and it's ongoing. It basically tracks the sentiment for the consumer. So if you look over here to the right, you're going to see that it's increasing. So this is 2022, and it's going up. So the sentiment basically says that consumers are feeling more comfortable about making a decision to move forward and consider purchasing. Mortgage purchase applications. This is over a 10-year history, but as of late, now this isn't a fall, but I wanted to show this track here. You can see that from basically 2023 to 2024, there's been an increase, but this is from 2016. This line right here indicates that we are back at the applications roughly that we were receiving in 2016. So you can see this huge influx of huge drop. This is right when COVID hit, right? Boom. Market, everybody just stopped doing anything. And then all of a sudden we had this massive influx, which we all know. That is COVID right there. But you can see that we're back to 2016 in terms of where mortgage purchase applications are. I'm not sure if you guys know, but sometimes when key people start to speak not necessarily out of turn, but without all of the potential facts, sometimes when that leaks to the media and leaks to your inboxes and leaks to the news, it creates havoc. So with that, Governor Waller, if you guys are familiar, I wrote this, not necessarily a dumb guy, right? He's here, but a lot of these guys are career politicians. Sometimes they just kind of blabber, and when they say things, it throws the market off a little bit. So you'll see in an upcoming slide, the market moved a little bit. We had an alert to lock basically last Tuesday. From last Tuesday to today, we've seen the market shift. We'll dive into that. So Governor Waller said he thinks that the feds will cut 3 times this year, but economy appears to be in good shape. Sees no reason to move as quickly or cut as rapidly as the past. Now, what he's saying is that we're talking about the Feds having increased the interest rates as of late, and we're hoping that the Feds are going to decrease interest rates, but sometimes what they don't want to do is decrease those interest rates too fast, thinking that, oh, all of a sudden we got inflation under control, and it's actually not. 30-year fixed rate. So I just wanted to touch on this because a lot of people we're getting inundated right now with people calling and hitting us up, and part of this is like consumers are done just waiting. So if you are one that needed to buy and you've been sitting on the fence and you're like, you know what, interest rates are coming back down, we're not at 8, we're now at maybe 6.5, and we're pushing now back up to close to 7, which we'll touch on here in a second. It's like, yeah, the motivation is there to consider doing it. The trend right now is that going forward, rather than increasing rates, we should continue to see decreasing rates. However, as of late, we've seen some increases for, things like Governor Waller just mentioned last week. So this is a 1-year recap. So basically, this is January 23, and this is January 24. Okay. So if you look at this mark right here, it's roughly about 6.25%. That was a year ago. Now we're close to about 7%, so 6.75. So we're seeing about 0.5% increase from a year ago, but the trend is that as we move forward, we're going to continue to see a drop. And this right here, my friends, as you know, until we know we start trending down, is why you or consumers are holding out until we start to see the trend go the other way. So we are starting to see that. Don't worry about this recent blip. It'll turn back around the other direction. So this is economic calendar. Whether or not you can see that or not, I don't know, but we're going to do our best. So we're going to touch on a few things here. First is Wednesday, which is today. We had a 5-year Treasury auction. The auction was not wonderful. With that being said, we saw an adjustment today in interest rates. We got a second alert to lock from last week's Tuesday alert to lock. And you'll see the trend line here in a second, what that's going to look like. Things we're going to pay attention to. If you are floating and you haven't locked, you're considering buying, or you're in contract, and you haven't locked already today, I'd float until Friday, meaning that don't lock until Friday. Pay very close attention to these things that I've circled here. We have PCE, which is personal consumption expenditures. This is the economic calendar that's going to come out Friday. Personal consumption expenditures month over month, and then the pending home sales month over month. And that right there, my friends, will likely, we're hoping, crossing our fingers, that that's going to help the bond market on Friday, which will help translate to lower interest rates moving forward. Now, here's a quick sample of the bond market. This is, basically October, November, December, January, okay? So from January, we started to see this trend where in December, we're falling. Now, the bond market works in reverse, okay? But what I want you guys to pay attention to is the trend of this recent up line here, this green, and then this down line here. So this is bad for bonds are falling, okay? As bonds fall, what happens is the interest rates increase. They work in inverse. And I'll show you here a little bit on the 10-year Treasury, because a lot of times consumers have a tendency to watch the 10-year Treasury. They go, oh, does it follow the 10-year Treasury? Perfect. I've talked about this in the past. And no, it does not, but it is a good indicator. So as you see here, this is an uptrend line. Okay, so going back here really quick, this is down. Now, as the bonds get worse or worsen, what happens is the Treasury increases, the 10-year Treasury increases, which means that this is going to follow how a 30-year fixed interest rate is going to look, or a 15 or a 20-year. Okay, so as we're seeing a recent uptick, it's not huge. You can see, the adjustment right here is roughly 13 basis points, which 20 basis points on 500,000 is what, $1,000. For the Treasury, the 10-year note, we're hoping is going to turn back around and start to fall. So you can see that this is where we've been trending since October. Boom, 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 boom. This is interest rates falling. This is interest rates increasing, interest rates falling, interest rates increasing. So we're starting to see a recent uptick, as I mentioned, and that's basically been since last Tuesday. Both of these this lock right here, that's Waller's statements. This lock right here is the bond auction today. because of the market moving worse. Anyway, friends, we look forward to the opportunity to help. If you guys have any questions, I know a lot of this stuff is hard to digest, but we just wanted to get a quick update out to you. Have a great one. Talk soon. And as always, don't forget to hit us up. Take care. Bye-bye.